Twice's style was evolving. He got bored of that. He didn't want to make the same beat over and over. But that's what that's what the record companies always want. They're like, oh, make something like that. They're like, just make, and we're like, well, we can't make the same song every time. It's gonna be boring. So anyway, I think by the time the 2 album rolled around, Think Twice's style of beats was totally evolving and changing, and the beat for We at the Club was his way of having a more like a mainstream sound at that time.
And I'm out, yo.
Hey, alright, so I am now on the line with a Mr. Spencer Miller, aka Golden Boy, who is one half of the rap duo Specifics.
Yeah.
How do you say it? Is it Specifics or Specifics?
Yeah, it's fun. That's a great question. So we say specifics, and then in one of the lines, I said specifics, don't get it twisted.
Hey.
So then I totally confused everybody. So then people come up and say, oh, specifics, and I was like, oh, why did I do that? But it doesn't really matter. I mean, I don't care. Yeah.
Hey, okay, so yeah, I've always said Specifics, bro. But okay.
Yeah. Well, why not? Why wouldn't you? It makes sense, right? It's funny. Yeah.
Yes, you were born and raised in Vancouver, British Columbia, man.
Yes.
Spencer, man, how are you doing today?
I'm great, man. Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's fun to talk about some hip hop stuff. I haven't really been involved in it very much, so happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me. Yeah.
Oh man, of course, man. So I gotta let you know, bro. I'm a big fan of you and Think Twice, man. Huge fan, yeah.
Nice. Thank you.
Of course, man. And so how I found out about you all, and you actually spoke on this, man. I don't know how it happened, but you somehow got on a Nujabes EP or like a CD of his.
Yeah.
That track Under the Hood.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's the first time I heard you all. And that song was a banger, bro. I absolutely love Under the Hood, yo.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that like you said, that song is totally what got our career up and running, and yeah, we got connected with Nujabes through mutual friends, and like he's a Japanese guy. He lived in Japan. You may know a lot about him, and he heard that song and he was like, oh, he loved it, so he put it on like a compilation album. I guess he released compilation albums, and from there, like, that totally jump started our career. So that was really cool. Yeah.
Okay, man, that's awesome, man. That's awesome, man. I guess I would like to hear, man. I guess I want to start this out, man. I'm very curious to hear from you. I guess what was your childhood like growing up in Vancouver, British Columbia, man?
Yeah, so where I'm from is a place called Deep Cove, and it's basically kind of like a suburb of Vancouver. So it's very beautiful, kind of small town suburb, and just a very like natural place with a lot of trees and mountains, like super cool place. So I kind of grew up there, and basically I listened to rap since I was very young. My mom bought me like some rap tapes when I was young, and me and my friends were totally into rap. We were very lucky, I think, because we grew up in a time where it was like kind of a golden age of rap. Like, okay. Wu-Tang came out when I was 12, and I heard it and I was like all over it. That's the type of era that I kind of grew up in. So yeah, and that was my childhood. And I was a skateboarder. That's the other thing. When I was young, I used to skateboard. So me and all my buddies would skateboard and listen to rap. Yeah.
Okay. I'm very curious, man. Who were some popular hip hop groups when you were growing up, man? In Vancouver.
In Vancouver.
Oh yeah, who was popular? Was it American hip hop or was it Canadian hip hop? Was that even a thing?
Canadian hip hop was not much of a thing. The one Canadian rapper that I loved was Maestro Fresh Wes, who was a guy out of Toronto. This was all before the internet existed, so there was way less information. When you got interested in a band or a rap or whatever, you could not really get very much information. All you could get was what was on the CD, or the tape, because
Yeah.
I'm enough that I had tapes. And so anyway, I don't know very much about Maestro Fresh West, but he's from Toronto. There was Dream Warriors. Dream Warriors were another like pretty awesome hip hop group from Canada, and somebody else. But the big hip hop groups, like I said, when I was 12, Wu Tang came out, and that basically changed everything. Me and my friends were into Onyx. We loved Onyx because they would like swear a lot. When I was a little kid, we loved it if there was like more swearing. Naughty by Nature, I loved Naughty by Nature when they first came out, and it just probably a lot of the same hip hop that people in the U.S. were exposed to as well. It was the same
Right.
stuff. Yeah.
Now I understand that, man. I understand that. I'm very curious, man. I guess you kind of spoke on it, man. How important was music in your childhood? Let me ask you that.
Well, super important. So I play piano. I started playing piano when I was young, and yeah, I'm a pretty good piano player. I mean, I don't know. Music was very important to me growing up. I played piano a lot, and I listened to a lot of music and a lot of rap music, and I would make beats actually too when I was young and write rhymes ever since I was like 10, like from a young age I was doing that. So music has played a big role in my life. I consider myself to be a musician even outside of hip hop. Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you this real quick, man. I don't know if this is fair or not, but the way I kind of measure musician, can you read like sheet music, piano music?
Oh yeah. Oh totally.
You're definitely a musician. Man. You definitely
yeah, big time. And it's funny because coming into the hip hop world, like a lot of producers are not classically trained musicians, right? So and that's fine, that's all good. But it's funny because I'm very thankful that I did learn piano because anytime I'll play piano, people are like, "Oh man, I wish I played piano. I wish I knew all this stuff." And yeah, those are things that I all learned from a very young age. So yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. So let me ask you this thing. I guess going back to when you were in your youth, man. Do you remember what you wanted to be when you grew up?
Wow. I mean, I don't know that I ever had a solid. I never had like a solid idea of what I wanted to be when I grew up, especially as a young kid. I mean, I love to play music and I love to write. I have always written, whether it was writing like lyrics or I used to write poetry. I used to write stories. I used to write a lot when I was a little kid, actually, and I would write like long stories. It was crazy, and but I don't think I had a concept of like wanting to be a professional writer or wanting to be a professional musician. I definitely did not have any kind of like concrete vision of being like a professional musician. Like yeah.
I understand that, and I definitely understand
Yeah.
that. So yeah, so growing up in Vancouver, man. I guess I'm very curious, man. I guess what was your household like? I guess what I mean, like, what did your parents do, man? Can I ask you that?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I grew up with my parents. My mom and dad are both actors. Actually, they were theater actors when they were younger. And my dad, more than my mom, was also a TV and film actor. Vancouver has a big film and TV industry. Basically, there's a nickname, they call it Hollywood North. So a lot of productions come up to Vancouver and film in Vancouver because it's cheaper. When the Canadian dollar is lower than the American dollar, basically they've calculated they can save a lot of money if they come up to Vancouver and shoot movies and pay everybody in Canadian dollars instead of US dollars. And they also get tax breaks that are from the government and stuff. So anyway, there's like this big film and TV industry in Vancouver. So my dad was a TV actor. So my parents are very artistic. They were actors. They were hippies. They totally wanted me to be involved in arts and stuff like that. So I credit basically a lot of my I don't know, creativity to my parents, like supporting that. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So were you Were you influenced at all being an actor, man?
Yeah, a little bit. Like I love to act. I I never pursued it as a career, but me and my friends used to make a lot of movies. A lot of my close friends, we studied film, and I went to university actually to study film, making movies. And so growing up, especially in high school, we used to make movies whenever we could get away with it for school. Like we would convince our teachers, like, instead of doing a presentation in class, we want to make a movie, and then we'll just show the movie in the class. And it would be like these stupid movies, total like comedy, like not doing what we were supposed to do. It was super fun. I love making movies with my buddies. So yeah, I was a very kind of performance-oriented person growing up. I would act, and I never considered it as a career. Excuse me. Yeah.
That's awesome. I didn't understand that. That's really cool, bro.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this then.
Hey, if you could leave a like and subscribe, that would be amazing for the channel. Let's get back to the video.
So let me ask you this then. You're growing up in Vancouver, man. I guess what happens for you after you graduate high school?
Yeah, so I mean, me personally,
Yes, sir.
So I graduated high school, and kind of like I said, I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. So I spent 1 year, and actually around my last year of high school was when I started to get into rapping slightly more seriously. I was never super seriously thinking like I wanted to be a rapper or anything like that. But me and my friends started freestyling in our final year of high school. Just for fun, we would freestyle, and it was super fun. It was one of my favorite things to do. And I was really good at it. Like everybody else was not that great. I don't know, freestyling is super difficult. Nobody's good at freestyling. But I was pretty good at it. I had like a natural ability for freestyling. And so anyway, I graduated from high school. I didn't know what to do. I got a part-time job working at a pizza place in Deep Cove. It was a very small town. And some of my buddies went off to college or university, but a lot of my friends were just kind of hanging out and working, and that's kind of what I did. I worked a part-time job, and I just wanted to I wasn't ready to grow up. I wanted to kind of stay living the high school life, I think. So I just hung out for a year, and we would freestyle and do stuff. And then after that, eventually my parents were like, listen, you gotta go to college or figure something out. So I ended up going to university 1 year after I graduated from high school.
Okay. So you go to university, man.
Yeah.
And you're still rapping at that time, still trying to do something with it, or what?
Yeah, so when I went to university in Montreal, which is across the country in Canada. It's like a 5-hour flight from Vancouver, so it's quite far away from home. So I was just getting, not serious, but serious as a hobby with rapping and freestyling and writing some rhymes here and there. That was just coming up, and then I went to university in Montreal. So when I got to Montreal, I was kind of still pursuing it. I was writing rhymes and posting them on like these online sites. Like this is still when the internet was just evolving. So there used to be a site called SOHH. I forget like what it stood for. It was like soundofhiphop.com or something. And it was like a message board where people would like type out battles, like they would set up battles and you would battle people, but like online. So anyway, I was kind of into that like a little bit, and I lived in the dormitory in my first year in university, and that's where I met Think Twice. Think Twice also lived in the dormitory. It was a small dormitory. There was only, I want to say like 140 people in the dormitory. It's very small. So you kind of knew everybody. It was only 3 floors. And so I met Think Twice, and basically we connected through him being like, oh, I make beats. Me and my buddies used to make raps kind of for fun as kind of a joke, and I was like, oh, I rap, like let's make a project just for fun, right? So that's how it all started. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, bro. So wait, real quick, I'm very curious to hear, man.
Yeah.
What was your first rapper name or rapper alias?
That's a good question. Yeah, it's funny. So, like, I didn't really have a rapper name until Golden Boy, and I chose the name Golden Boy. I forget what name because I used a different name on that website. Like when I was writing out my raps on online and posting them, I had some sort of username, but to be honest, I can't remember what it was.
Not no words.
Yeah, but it's a funny thing because I never like planned to be a rapper, and so when we started making songs, I kind of had to choose a name. They were like, "Oh, you need a name," you know. So it didn't come about naturally. I think it would be better if you got your name, you get your nickname naturally, but
Yeah.
that's not really what happened for me. So I chose the name Golden Boy based on some a Japanese comic book that I had read. I just thought it was a stupid name. It's kind of a joke. I didn't know that it would be like important later, you know. So anyway, yeah, that was that.
Nah, that's cool. I like the rap name. I like Golden Boy, bro.
Okay, yeah.
Man, that's cool. So I mean, I'm very curious to hear, man. I guess about how you and Think Twice met up, man. I guess what was that like, man? I guess when y'all first met.
Yeah, so I forget like exactly how I first met him, but like I said, we lived in this dormitory. It was very small. Pretty quickly, you kind of met everybody in the dormitory. And he was a dude who was also from Victoria, which is very close to Vancouver. We had both, traveled across the country to go to university out there. And so it just so happened that we were from a very similar place, and I forget how I found out that he was like making beats. Like maybe I was telling people like, "Oh, I rap," and then he was like, "Oh, you rap? Like I made these beats." So anyway, I listened to some of his beats, and his beats were sick. They were a little bit different style than the ones that you've heard later because we were both very like young in our like development of what we were doing. But his old beats were awesome too. So I was like, "Oh, dude, let's record," and he had a bunch of recording stuff. So and yeah, that was how it worked out. It was very casual. We were not like, "Oh, let's make a rap group." Like we were just messing around, basically.
Okay, so I guess the inception is you two recording in your dormitory or what?
Yeah, at first we were just like recording in Think Twice's room. These are just small rooms, so he just had like a computer, and I forget what mic we were using. We must have had some sort of mic, but it was super, super low key, super low budget, just like home recording. We made like 3 albums like before Lonely City, which is
I'll say Lonely City's the only person I know of you all.
Yeah. So Lonely City is our first album that was released as Specifics. That's our first like real album. But we made like 3, quote unquote albums that we just gave to our friends and stuff. Like it was more as a joke and or just kind of screwing around. So we have those 3 albums. I've kind of lost them. I don't even have them anymore. I would have to go to my
say, bro, I really need you to find those, man. I would love to hear those.
Yeah. I mean, it would probably be a little bit embarrassing because, like, our skills were not developed. But on the other hand, like, I do think those old albums were still pretty sick. And, like, we made this first one, gave it to people, and they were like, like, all our friends loved it, right? So that was kind of the beginning. Yeah, so maybe I can dig those up, but they would be on like CDs. Like they wouldn't even be like I wouldn't have them on a thumb drive or in a digital form. This is so long ago that like you just had like a burned CD. So that's why I've kind of lost them. But maybe I could find them. I don't know.
Oh man, if you could find them, man, you could easily rip that CD to your computer, man. But yeah, I mean, I would love to hear it, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you meet Think Twice. Yeah, y'all start linking up, and I believe it was y'all had a DJ Gosser.
Yeah, TJ Gozer. Yeah, so this is what happened. So we made an album for fun, and then people like our friends like loved it. So we are like, oh, and like we enjoyed making it. We were doing it for fun. We were not doing it to be like, let's come out and make a name for ourselves. We were doing it strictly like as a hobby. So we made the first album. Our friends like loved it. So we made another one, and I don't really remember like at what stage it like became serious, you know, like there was never like one moment. We just kind of suddenly transitioned to being like, let's try and like do this as well as we can. I don't really remember like when that happened. It was not one moment. It just transitioned into that. So I think what happened is we made the song Under the Hood, the one that you mentioned. We made that, and another dude in the dormitory was a business student, and he heard it, and his name was Arash. He's an Iranian guy, and he was like, dude, this is awesome. He's like, I want to be your manager. He's like, I want to manage you guys. So as soon as that happened, maybe that was when things got serious. He was like, I'm going to manage you guys. Like, let's do something with this. We can sell this. And we were like, oh, okay, like, sure. So then at that point, we were like, we got to start doing shows. You know, we've not done any performances or anything like that. We've just been recording kind of like in a bedroom. So we're like, okay, if we're gonna form this group and like do this seriously and try to get involved in the hip hop scene in Montreal, like the real scene, then we're gonna start doing shows. And we were like, I think at some point somebody was like, listen, if we're gonna do shows, we need somebody like a DJ or somebody to kind of back me up, because if it's just gonna be me on stage just rapping by myself, I'm like, well, that's not gonna be much of a show, you know? I mean, let's just stand here and rap. So we linked up, I don't know how, but we linked up with a dude from Montreal named Gozer, and he joined the group, you know, to be the DJ. And we were like, oh, and we want to put some cuts on the albums too. So it turned out that Gozer's like a super cool guy. Like, I love Gozer, and me and him became like good friends, and we would hang out and freestyle together and stuff. So he became like a dude that I could hang out with and freestyle and kind of like I don't know, just enjoy especially the freestyling culture that I used to have with my friends in Vancouver. So yeah.
I understand that, man. I'm very curious, man. When or what year did you all create Under the Hood? Do you remember?
Yeah, it's funny. Like, my memory is not very good, and now this is like a long time ago. But I think we're talking about 2001 or 2002, maybe.
Really?
A long time ago.
Because I want to argue and say that I didn't hear that till high school, and I graduated high school 2010. So that had to be between 06 and 2010. I could be mistaken. I may have just been late.
Oh no, it's a lot older than that. So I know that I'm pretty sure the first album came out in 2003. So I think we made that in 2002. Yeah.
What was the name of your first album? Let me ask you that.
First album?
Yes, sir.
Not Lonely City?
Yeah, you say you made 3 before Lonely City.
Yeah, so the other ones were very unofficial. We would just write something on it. I think, what was the first one called? Like, man, I almost can't remember. I think it was called Shang and Gold. Because at that time, Think Twice had a different name. It was very like casual, and he was calling himself Shanghai Sun. Shanghai Sun. I don't know why, but so at that point we called that Shang and Gold, and then the second one was called Wally Season. Wally season. Like we were gonna wear Wallies because it was like summertime. So we were into Wally shoes because Ghostface was talking about Wally shoes, and we were like in love with Ghostface. So the second one was called Wally season, and then the third one was called Tim season because it was in the winter time. So we were gonna wear Timberlands. So I don't know. Those were the names of the albums. Yeah.
That's cool, man. Let me ask you this one. I'm very curious, man. I guess what was the inspiration for Under the Hood? I don't want to like stick too much on that one song, but I guess like what was the inspiration for that song, man? Anything?
I don't think so. I think like Think Twice had the beat, and I just like wrote some random lyrics, man. I don't know. I don't think there was any particular inspiration. Like a lot of stuff we made, like because it was early on. Like I just wrote some random lyrics. I used to write a lot of lyrics. I've written so many lyrics. I've written like I was trying to think about like how many songs worth of lyrics I've written, and like what people hear on the albums is like like not even 5%. Like I've written like 500 songs worth of lyrics or something. I don't know. So anyway, it was just random. There was no inspiration.
I understand that, man.
Yeah.
So you put out Lonely City, your first official record,
Yeah.
and then after that is I guess Specifics 2. Is that what it is, right? Or what
Yeah,
is
we
it?
just named it too. I don't know why we decided that would be funny and kind of we just start numbering the albums. Call this one number 2. So yeah.
And so let me ask you this one. I'm very curious, man. I guess how was putting out 2? How was that creative process different than Lonely City?
It was super different. Yeah, it was very. That's a great question. Like it's like the first one. So we made the song Under the Hood, and then like I said, like Najabi's heard it. Like he put it on his compilation. Like suddenly, and then from there, they wanted a record. They wanted us to make a full length record. So we then made the record after Under the Hood. And piece by piece, we recorded that album in the Concordia University. That's the university that we went to. We went to Concordia in Montreal. We recorded it in the Concordia like sound recording studio because Think Twice was studying electroacoustic engineering. That was his degree. So he had access, or he was able to like sign out the recording rooms. So the process for that is we would go, me and him and Gozer and sometimes our manager and sometimes a couple buddies would go into the studio and record the songs. We released that and a couple of years passed, and then for the 2 album, I forget what happened, but it was something like the label contacted us and they were like, hey, we'll pay you to release another album. So we said, okay, let's make the next album. And I can't remember if we had any tracks ready at that point or if we had nothing. But by that time, everything had changed a lot. We no longer had the same manager, and we were not using our manager anymore. We had parted ways, on pretty good terms. And it was more, that one was mostly just me and Think Twice, and we did that at his house as opposed to being in the Concordia studios. So that was kind of going back to our like roots of bedroom recording. So I would just go over to Think Twice's place and we would record the tracks. It was quite different. And yeah. And, I think Lonely City is more popular. Like, I think people like it. And I've read that people were like, oh, 2 was like a little bit of a disappointment. I didn't like it as much. And I guess I can understand that. But to me, like, I feel like the lyrics are better on 2. I think just for me personally, I felt like I had, like, developed my process of writing and rhyming to be more satisfied with what I was doing. Anyway, yeah, that's the difference between the albums.
No, man, I want to I kind of want to argue with you because, in my opinion, man, Lonely City is kind of like what they say your freshman album, right? And that felt less polished than two. In my opinion, two blows Lonely City out the water, bro. I love two.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I kind of agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, I love two. Two has got. I mean, both albums have got bangers, bro, but two has got bangers on it. I'm so serious, man.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. Well, yeah, I don't know. I agree. Yeah, I prefer two now. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. And so I'm curious, man. How does this work? And I'm not a rapper at all, so I'm very curious. How does this work, man? Between you and Think Twice, do you go over his house and Think Twice says, "Hey, man, I made these beats. You know, do you want to spit on any of them, or like, how does that?
Yeah, like
for the two of you.
usually it would be like, usually Think Twice would give me like a beat CD, and there would be some, like 10 beats, and he would be like, write verses or whatever. So you said you're not a rapper. You never
I'm
tried.
not a rapper. I'm not a rapper.
So for people, I don't know, everybody's obviously different, right? But for me, it's you kind of have to write the rhyme on the beat. It's things get screwed up if you write a rhyme and then try to rap it on a different beat than you wrote it on. Partially because of the mood of the beat, but more the rhythm. Like the rhythm of beats can be very different. So if you try to switch a rhyme from the beat you wrote it on to a different one, a lot of the time it's difficult. Sometimes we would do that and it would be fine. It would be okay. But usually you want to write the rhyme on the beat. So anyway, Think Twice would give me a beat CD and I would, go write rhymes, and if I felt that they were decent, then I would come and we'd record them. And that was how it started. And then towards the later stages of our career, Think Twice would give me less beats, but he would just give me like the best beats, and he'd be like, you have to write something for this one. It was like, we need to use this one. So then I would just write something. Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's so cool, bro. That's so cool, man.
Singing and rapping, it's a fun hobby. So I do miss it. Yeah.
Okay, man. I'm curious, man. I want to ask you about can I ask you about like a couple of tracks, man? We'll just like tell me maybe some first thoughts that come to mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, bro. What about the track We At The? What comes to mind?
Yeah, We At The Club. Yeah, like I don't know. The beat's kind of crazy. It's like a different style. Like it's a little bit more. I think like Think Twice we became popular off of this style of like jazzy hip hop beats, and when Nujabes got stoked on Under the Hood, that was why. Basically, his whole thing, like for people who don't know, Nujabes was a very famous DJ producer in Japan, and he was like the godfather of the hip hop scene in Japan, as far as I understand. And but what they liked was jazzy hip hop, a very specific style of like old school or underground kind of hip hop beats with jazzy sounding samples and very melodic and relaxing, blah blah blah. So that was the type of thing that Think Twice just happened to be making when he was making beats. That's why they liked it so much. And but Think Twice's style was evolving. He got bored of that. He didn't want to make the same beat over and over. But that's what the record companies always want. They're like, oh, make something like that. They're like, just make, and we're like, well, we can't make the same song every time. It's gonna be boring. So anyway, I think by the time the 2 album rolled around, Think Twice's style of beats was totally evolving and changing, and the beat for We At The Club was his way of having a more like a mainstream sound at that time. Anyway, it's just a song though. being at the club. You know, I'm not a big club going guy, but at that time I was younger and we would go out to clubs and stuff. So, you know, that was my club song. Yeah.
I mean, I want to say, man. So it's probably like, for like my favorite song between you, it's got to be like under the hood and We Out There. I love both those beats, man. Both those beats are fire. Yeah, bro.
What about Fresh?
Fresh is the one with Coates on it, right? So Fresh is the one where, yeah. I forget sometimes.
You have the famous line, "Pound of green in the Folgers." I forgot what it. Like, do people actually do that though, man?
I had heard about that. So what? Yeah. So Fresh was dope. That's one of my favorite songs on that record. Because I love the beat. And Think Twice didn't. Yeah, Think Twice didn't like that beat. He didn't want to use it actually. So, but I was like, dude, but that's a perfect beat for a rapper. It's like really easy to rap on, really easy to flow on, and I love the like mood of that beat. That was the mood of beats that I was really into at that time. Like a very chill, like mellow mood. So I really wanted to rap on that beat, and yeah, the line is where I say, what do I say? I've been like retired for a long time, so I don't remember a lot of the lyrics. But I said something like, Folgers, pound of green in the Folgers brown, so you found it, better go to town. So I had heard about people smuggling weed in coffee, because if you take it through an airport, the dogs cannot smell it through the coffee. Now, I don't know if that's true, but I had just heard that. So I was trying to, for some reason, I had decided that I was going to say something about, like, we had a can of coffee and then there's, like, weed in it. You know, I don't know why. Yeah.
Ask you about tell me about Coates. How did y'all run into Coates? How did y'all meet him?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when we got involved in the kind of hip hop scene in Montreal, we started doing shows, and we, you know, kind of started networking out and trying to find like other rappers in the scene. The Montreal hip hop scene is awesome. A lot of really cool people. Like, I really miss all the people that we met, and love everybody that we met in the scene. And it's a small scene, intimate scene, so everybody kind of knows each other. But we were the new guys on the block. Nobody knew who we were. We had kind of come out of nowhere, and it was a kind of strange situation, because we were suddenly like, hey, you know, we're trying to kind of insinuate ourselves into this hip hop scene. So we had to meet people and kind of network. And we met these guys who were also like a college hip hop group who were around our same age and who were around our same level. Like, they were just doing their thing and kind of having fun. And they were doing a lot of shows. So we wanted to kind of like make an alliance with them and you know, start doing shows with them. Their name was Typecast. It was a group of 4 guys, and the group name was Typecast. And one of the guys in the group was Coates, a guy named Chris Coates, who's a super cool guy. He became one of my best friends in the scene and in Montreal. And I love Coates, and we used to write rhymes together and hang out together and freestyle together. He was one of my favorite people to collaborate with as a rapper. And so he's just a dude, you know. He also was a journalist. He wrote articles for like hip hop. He wrote reviews and articles for hip hop magazines and stuff. I forget which ones, but yeah, Coates is a great guy, and he's a really good rapper. He's really into rap. Like, he's more involved in rap now than I am. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So no, bro. I don't know. If you don't mind, I'm gonna ask you about a couple more songs, man.
No worries. As much as you like.
Bro, so what about Hand Clap?
Hands Clap, yeah, that one is more rare. Like, that's not on the albums.
I think it's like just a random single you released, or what?
It was released, I forget why. It was for like some compilation or for something. A lot of the time when we made these songs. Sometimes we had an album and we were like, we have to make songs for the album. And then sometimes we were like, let's just make a song. So that was one where we, for whatever reason, Think Twice had the beat, and the beat is sick.
Yes.
And excuse me, and we were gonna collaborate with this guy named Lotus, who is also an awesome artist from Montreal, who was kind of from a separate crew, and that we were kind of like friends with those guys. And Lotus is awesome. He's a producer. He's a rapper. Anyway, we just, in this case, we got him to be on the song. And yeah, I love that song. You can find it on YouTube. Like I don't know. Nowadays, I listen to all my music on YouTube, so I don't know what other people do. But if people are interested, they can go on YouTube and search Hands Clap, and that's a lesser known song because it's not on the album. So I don't know how it was released, or I forget what it was released on.
I'm thankful it was, man. I'm very thankful. That's a banger. And let me ask you one more, man. Last one. What about Stars?
Yeah, Stars was on Think Twice's solo album. So that's what that was. So every now and then
some swing.
Yeah, so the producer for our group, Specifics, his name is Think Twice. He also released maybe 2 solo albums. I can't remember actually.
I believe you're right.
And so he released solo, quote unquote, solo albums where he would produce the beats, and then it was more like a compilation album where we would get rappers from around town to be on the tracks. So, and I'm on a few of them. It's funny, like I went on YouTube and looked up the songs, and like sometimes I saw people being like, if it's Think Twice made the beat and Golden Boy is rapping on it, like why is it not Specifics? So it basically is. But anyway, we recorded that for his album, and yeah, I love that song too. The beat is dope, and I was really like happy with the lyrics. Some of the songs, to me, the lyrics are like and then some songs I'm really happy about the lyrics. So that's one where I was really happy about the lyrics because I just felt like somehow it like captured like an emotion that I was trying to kind of get across. Yeah.
I understand that, man. So let me ask you this, man. I gotta ask you this, man, and I'm very curious, man. Would you call yourself Drake before Drake, man?
No, not at all. I love Drake. Drake is crazy. I think Drake is. I would not put myself in the same category as Drake at all. No. But I mean, Drake is awesome. Drake is one of my favorite rappers now. I don't listen to a lot of rap nowadays. Like I basically have not been a major fan of listening to rap for the last like 10 years. Because the style of rap changed and it became like a style that's just not really what I originally enjoyed, at least for me. And a lot of the artists that I loved are now retired, just like I am. But Drake rules. I love Drake's music, and I think he's my favorite rapper now. But I think I would not compare myself to Drake in our style, really. I think Drake is totally different than me. He's got a very like mainstream style, whereas I think my style was a more underground style. And obviously he's like a billion times more famous than we were. Yeah. But I love Drake.
Yeah, I asked. That was a joke. That was a joke, bro. And so real quick, man, I'm very curious, man. So you and Think Twice put out a couple of albums, a couple of songs, man, everything. I'm curious, man. I guess why or when did things start to slow down for you? Just change of lifestyles, or what happened?
Yeah, so like we did the first album, it was quite successful. We did the second album, it was also like our albums were successful, and it's in the underground rap scene that we were in Montreal. I think we were like money-wise, we were more successful than most people. And for everybody out there who wants to rap or wants to be a rapper or who's involved in underground rap like we were, it's not most people don't make money. Most people don't get famous, and that's not what it's about. I think most people are not. That's not why anyone is motivated to be involved with hip hop. People do it because they love to do it and they love the art form and they want to express themselves or whatever. So anyway, but we were quite successful. And yeah, I would say like why did we stop? I know a lot of people or a lot of our fans and people who are aware of us were disappointed that there was not more albums. I've read stuff online, mostly on YouTube comments, that people are like, oh, like where's the next album? What's happening? It's not coming out. People are disappointed, and that sucks. I wish. In some ways, I wish that we had more albums to release to people. But yeah, we grew up, we got older, we had to get real jobs. Like I think we made about $30,000, I would estimate. We made about $30,000 in 10 years. So, that's a lot. It's a lot more than a lot of people make. But over 10 years, it's $3,000 a year. You split it in half, it's $1,500 a year. It's not very much money. And it's not enough to make a living at all. And I think, yeah, both of us just got involved in our day jobs and our lives. Think Twice has his own life, and I have my own life. We're both, have families now, so it just naturally kind of decreased in our lifestyles. Yeah.
Are you gonna be one of those dads who gets your children into rap? Kind of show them what you used to do when you were younger.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, my priority now is I want my kids to learn musical instruments.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully if they're interested in that. Like I said, I learned piano, so I'm gonna get my son into playing piano and then into playing guitar if he's interested in that. That's what I do now. I play guitar a lot, and I'm really into playing guitar. So, I hope my son wants to do that. If he wants to rap, good for him, I guess. And maybe it'll be in the bloodline, maybe it'll be in the genetics. Probably will. Yeah. But I don't know if I would encourage that. Like I don't consider myself now to be a rapper, and I don't think about being a rapper. It's like my like past life, Like I'm very retired from rap. Not that I don't cherish those memories, but yeah.
I understand that, man. I understand that. So let me ask you this real quick, man. I'm very curious, man, to hear. And I guess what is life like now for Golden Boy, Mr. Spencer Miller?
Yeah, man. So like I said, I'm retired from rapping. I don't write rhymes anymore. I barely ever freestyle. I wish I had people to freestyle with. Excuse me. Now that I'm older, it's just what happens when you get older. It becomes more difficult to find time to spend with your friends. People out there who are young people may not know about this, but basically as you get older, people get married, people have kids, people have careers that are important, they might move away. So my buddies that I used to freestyle with, it's very difficult for us to find time to hang out, let alone to freestyle or anything like that. I would love to still freestyle, but what is my daily life like now? I teach English. I'm an English teacher at an international college in Vancouver. So I teach students from like Japan, Korea, Brazil, and Mexico mostly. And I just teach English. So I love it. It's super fun. Great job. And I enjoy that. And then, I just had a son. It's my first kid. So I'm enjoying family life. It's going really well. And I just hang out. Like I said, I play guitar a lot, and I try to read, and I'm writing a lot. It's super important for me as a person to be creative. I have to be creative. If I'm not involved in creative projects, I feel like I'm wasting my time and I'm not happy. So I always have to be involved in creative projects. So I'm writing a novel and I'm writing screenplays as well. So yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Awesome, man. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I guess at this point, Spencer, man, I really just want to thank you, man, for taking time out to talk to me, man.
No worries, my pleasure, man. It was fun to talk to you, and I'm always happy to do it. You know, we're not very famous, so it's not very often that I get this stuff. So it's kind of fun to take a walk down memory lane, and we're totally happy to answer your questions, and happy that you enjoyed our music, and that I'm always surprised that we have fans. like I'm always like, people like listen to our music. It's crazy. So when people post things or get in touch with me and tell me that they enjoy our music, I feel so happy and grateful and humbled, and it's just really cool. And I'm really happy that people could connect with something that I was trying to communicate. That's so cool. Yeah.
Real quick, let me ask you this, man. Do you have any? I guess you say you were writing anything. Do you have anything you want to plug? Anything you want to promote, man?
Oh, I mean, no, that's not really. Like I'm halfway through a novel. It's my first novel,
Hey.
but I mean, I'm not at the stage where I can tell anybody to buy it. And yeah, and I'm writing screenplays, but these are my personal projects. No, I don't have anything to plug. I did, it's funny, like recently I posted, I think the way that we got in touch was I posted a message on Reddit because it was
Jay Dilla and Nujabes' birthday.
it was Dilla and Nujabes' birthday, and just randomly I saw the post and I decided that I wanted to share a story about meeting Nujabes, and that's how you and I got in touch. And also at the time, like I said, I almost never think about rapping, but I started thinking, man, I would like to do like some sort of like a freestyle show on Twitch, like a streaming freestyle podcast or something like that. So I don't know. I'm pondering that, but that's just an idea at this point. But thank you for giving me the opportunity to plug something, and I don't know. I'll get in touch with you if I have anything. Yeah.
I mean, I'll be the first to tell you, man. You definitely should do that, bro.
Cool.
You definitely should do it, man.
Like, I didn't ask you like too much about this. Like, what is the format for what you're doing here? Like, it's
Bro. So honestly, man, I'm actually like a dancer, bro. So I started this podcast to interview dancers, man, but it's kind of expounded to me interviewing just people I really enjoy talking to, people I aspire, man. So, as soon as I saw your post on Reddit, you said, "Yo, this is Golden Boy from Think Twice." I was like, "No way." I was like, "No way." I hit you up immediately, bro. Yeah, I hit you up. So I mean, so I do like salsa, bachata, kizomba, and like Brazilian Zouk partner dances. And like I said, I just interview dancers, man, trying to get hints and tips for them, man. But like I said, it's really expanded upon just anyone who's willing to come on the show, man. So I really appreciate you, man, coming on the show, man.
like I said, man, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. Real quick, man, before we close this out, is there anything you want to share with the people, man?
Oh boy, I mean, like I said, I just appreciate people's interest in our music, and I do love hip hop, and I'm excited when people are into hip hop and underground hip hop, and if people want to rap, I think they should rap, man. I love rapping, and I love the art of emceeing, and I think it's something that went through a phase of popularity, and I don't know if it's as popular anymore, but people should freestyle, man. I don't know, that's all.
Hey, I feel you, man. Hey, Spencer, man, like I said before, man, thank you so much for coming on the show, man.
Well, you're welcome. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Of course, man. I think this will do it for this episode of the Two Lift Feet podcast, man. Thank you so much, Spencer.
All right, take care.
Hey, ciao, Roddy.
Yeah, see you.
That's all it is.
Hey everyone, if you made it this far to all the way to the end of the video, I want to thank you so much. my overall goal with making these interviews and these episodes is to give a voice to dancers, to give them a platform to speak their story. So if this is of value to anyone, then that means the world to me. My overall goal is to give value to the dance community. So if you find no value in this, then I urge you to please let me know where I can improve on. I truly want to, just give value and content to the dance community. So please let me know how I can improve, where I'm messing up, because to be 100% honest with you, I'm learning along the way as I do this. I truly am. So to be able to interact with the dance community, it means the world to me, because it gives me feedback and it lets me know what I'm doing right, where I can improve upon, what I'm doing wrong, which I feel like might be more important. So please, if you all could comment and just let me know what you think, it means the world to me, because that feedback just helps me improve. So please comment as well. Please like and subscribe. That means a lot as well. But I want to say thank you so much for just watching this, because it means the world to me. I want to take you on this journey of the Two Left Feet podcast. I'm very excited for it. So once again, thank you so much.